But I think Next Percent is my favourite, but the Endorphin Pro 3 is a really good option. Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay, and welcome to a place called Henley Grange, nice set of woods here near Purbright, not far from Guildford. So I've just stopped off because I could do a little warm-up, but I'm going to do a session later on of 6x800, 4x400, 3x200 as my final tune-up for the track 10,000 on Wednesday. So I was thinking I want to do a little shoe-off between what are the two shoes that I think are the best two shoes for me at the moment in terms of going fast. I think that has to be the Vaporfly Next Percent version 1 against the Endorphin Pro 3. Now I've also recently got the ASICS NOVABLAST 3, which I'm currently struggling with a bit, so I was just going to do a little warm-up in the NOVABLAST 3. I'm really struggling with the width of them. They sort of feel quite clumpy, even though they've come down in weight. Everyone's sort of saying it's their best shoe of the year, so I'm going to give that a bit more of a go before I give it a review. Otherwise I think I might give it a bit of an unfair one. And at the moment, rather than being my best shoe of the year, it's probably my worst shoe of the year. As you can see, I've got the ASICS NOVABLAST 3s on, very matching yellow and black affair, and you can see how much I've had to turn the laces here, almost to the point they're almost touching. There's so much XX lace I'm going to have to cut them off. Okay, let's crack on with this warm up and then I'll head over to Purbright, where there's a bit flatter roads to do the actual session later. Okay, warm up run done, a bit longer than I was intending, but I was trying to collect a few streets here, or pseudo streets. They seem to be more like forest tracks, but they all count for city strides. I think I've ticked off a couple more. So yeah, about half an hour run in the ASICS NOVABLAST 3. Definitely a bit of improvement by really locking down my midfoot, so they're really basically hugging the shoe. But the fact is that they're just so much wider than my actual feet, so I think that's a bit of a problem. And they just feel bottom heavy, so it feels like when you're trying to sort of toe off, I'm sort of forced to the rear. Anyway, we're not really talking about the NOVABLAST 3 today. I'll do a separate video on that when I gather my thoughts a bit more and compare them with the other two versions. Anyway, let's get off to where I'm going to do these intervals now, and we'll report back there. Okay, so we arrived at Purbright. Going to run around this green here, which I think is a half a mile round, more or less. Exactly, so that should do us. So I'm going to do 4 in the Endorphin Pro 3s, switch over to the next 2 in the Next Percent, and then go into 4 400s and 3 200s to finish. So it should be an interesting test. Let's see if I can aim for around about 6-minute mile pace, so 3 minutes for the half a mile. I'm instantly feeling in the Endorphin Pro 3s just so much faster than the NOVABLAST 3s, which just feel a bit like a clog on my feet compared. I mean, the stack height is theoretically about the same, but it just feels like a slab of foam in the NOVABLAST. There's like no structure to it at all. And whereas these Endorphin Pros, I feel like I'm wanting to get forward on my toes, the NOVABLAST 3s feels like I want to get back on my heels, which is the last thing you want to do to run fast, isn't it? So obviously they're not meant to be a fast shoe, but equally I always think a shoe should be nice to run in and not feel like you're having to fight it. But anyway, that's another day. Right, let's get onto this interval then, see where we go. Okay, first one down. I think it was bang on the money of just about 3 minutes, so that's good. Not too bad. I think it'll take me a few to get rid of the sort of slight stiffness from the long warm-up. And it's also a bit tougher when you start session, but I felt like I was trying quite hard there, so I'm hoping I'll be able to keep these going, but they feel nice. So much easier to run in than the NOVABLAST 3s, I must say. Right, on to the next one then. Okay, 2 and 3 done. Certainly getting the foot to the metal now. Both they were sub 3, I think 254, 255, something like that. So that's promising. One more in the Endorphin Pro 3s, and then a quick change into the Next Percent V1s. Okay, first one done the Next Percent. I think that was even faster, but maybe I just had a little more of a rest though. So this next one with the acid test definitely feels slightly softer on foot, although I feel the plate a bit more in these. These are the ones I rode to Seville Marathon, so done about 300 miles. That's a good innings for a shoe, isn't it? That you can do a speed session in. The shoe I bought 3 years ago. Right, let's go to this next one then. Okay, the 6 800 is done with the last 2 in the Next Percent. I kind of felt they were faster, but was I trying harder? I have to go and look at the splits later. I felt like the heart rate would have been higher, but they just feel like a bit more softer. Although the right one, I can feel my big toe a bit. Maybe it's just a bit worn there. I can feel the plate a bit there. But yeah, I think it really is my favourite shoe. So, but the Endorphin Pro 3, they do very well as well. Well, past tense, because I'm now into the next set, which is the 4 4s, and I've only got a minute's rest with them. I've identified, I think, a little straight road just around the corner from here, so maybe I'll do 2 up, 2 down, and see how we go. Okay, the 4's done. Not quite sure what time I did, but certainly the hardest I've been working for a while. My sort of territory though, 400 metre reps off a minute. Classic sort of 800 metre, 1500 metre training, but we're training for a 10k at the moment, not an 8 or a 15. Okay, the run here is just 200 metres up to the gate to Brookwood Cemetery. Hope that's exactly 200 metres, more or less, I think. Okay, 2 down, First one's downhill, that last one was uphill. Not very much though. It's about just over 200 meters, so ideal. Right, one more and we're done. Okay, 3 down. That last one felt quite fast because it was slightly downhill. In fact, I also had to brake at the gate because there's a gate there, and you can get into the side, walk around here as I am now. But yeah, Brookwood Cemetery, probably a bit poor form to do the session in here, but looks like it would be a good road to do so actually. Obviously not going to get any cars this time of day. So let's have a look at this little map. There used to be a railway going into here. Used to go from Waterloo with all the coffins. Okay, that was a good session. It's for me hard to say which is the best shoe, because obviously I did the first 4 in the Endorphin Pro 3 and then finished off the next percent, so there's also an element of psychologically easier when you've had a little rest after the 4th one. You get almost a free one on the 5th, and then the 6th one is your last one, so psychologically then you've got the shorter distances to go. So although the 4s probably hurt the most, they were a sort of like only half the distance, and then I did 4 of them rather than 6, and then the 3 200s at the end, well, they take care of themselves, especially as 2 were downhill. They just sort of stride out things. So yeah, it really meant to be sort of a confidence boosting session. And the question is, can I maintain a 6-minute mile pace for the 10k? I think that's pretty questionable, but I don't think it'll be miles off. I mean, I did basically near enough that in January, and I did 37:42, which I think is what, 37:37 for 6-minute miling. So yeah, it was there or thereabouts, wasn't it? Maybe in a track race best to go off a bit conservatively, because you never quite know what's going to happen. Now then, there's a gate here. Can I actually see if I can get through it? I wonder. Oh yes, marvellous. Right, it's getting a bit dark now, so we'll go back indoors, have a look at the data and see what we think. But I think the next percent is my favourite. The Endorphin Pro 3 is a really good option, and the only other one really that is anyway a contender for me. I think the Vaporfly is just so heavy. The Adios Pro 3, a bit of lockdown issues, feels a bit heavy. And what else have I got? New Balance RC Elite. Well, it's a good Sunday run shoe, but that's probably about it really. I guess the other question is, what is the difference between the Next Percent V1 and the V2? V2 is a bit heavier for me, 20 grams heavier, and the lockdown's not as good, so that's why I chose the V1 here. Even a 300-mile pair, that's serving one in the 256 marathon, so I know they work for that, don't I? And I've done 2 marathons now in Next Percent, so I used my pink pair for the other one in London last year. Wasn't some marathon fit, so that wasn't quite so good. But anyway, yeah, good session, and see you in a minute. Alright, so we'll just do a quick analysis today, no spreadsheet. So the one on the left is the 4 half-a-mile intervals I did in the Endorphin Pro 3, and the ones on the right is the 2 I did in the Next Percent version 1. So I started off, perhaps ignore the first one, but we're just sort of warming into it, but just over 3 minutes, which is quite a good pace, 6:02. So I said I was hoping to get them all under 3 minutes. Then I went 2:54.8, 2:54.7, 2:55.4. So very consistent. Heart rate average there 141, 142, 143. So that's a nice smooth heart rate drift. Maximum heart rate 150, 151, 154. So when I moved into the Next Percent version 1, what is interesting straight away, that the speed increased. I did 252.0 and 250.4. So I had a bit of a longer rest before the 252 because I had basically probably about 3 minutes, I think, by the time I changed my shoes. But interestingly, obviously, then I was straight into the 6th one, and that was the fastest of the lot. Now, I didn't actually get my maximum heart rate quite as high as I did in the previous one there. But I think it was also significant. I was significantly faster in the Next Percent. It kind of felt faster, just slightly a softer feeling. I think I just prefer those shoes. So I think I would have to give this one to the Next Percent on account of the fact I was considerably faster and the heart rate wasn't really much higher. Okay, the average heart rate there in that last one was a bit higher, but it was the last one, so you kind of expect that. So just having a look at the 400 meter splits, I did an out and back, so 80.3, 79.2, 79.1, 80.4. So that was pleased with that, very consistent. I felt like I was fighting lactate a bit towards the end of the reps, as you might expect. I'm not really used to doing 400 meter reps, but that's a good pace. I mean, if I can keep that up for 4 laps or 3 3/4, I'm going to be there or thereabouts to 5 minutes, which is, considering I only did 4:56 last year, that's quite promising. And the maximum heart rates here 149, 154, 153, 152, so very similar to the 800 meter half-a-mile reps. And finally, having a quick look at the 200 meter reps. Well, actually, because of that, I couldn't really do 200 meters easily on my Garmin as an interval, so I did it as 0.1 and just ran on a bit. So probably interesting to look at the average pace. It was the first and third ones were slightly downhill, so 4:44 pace, 4:43 pace, 28 seconds basically, and then 31 seconds going the other way. So yeah, I was pleased with that. It probably added on about probably 4 seconds, I think, maybe to a 200. So yeah, it was about a 32, maybe about a 35 and a 32. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, I thought that was a good session and an interesting test. Not really a very scientific one, a bit more of a one on feel really. But yeah, I think Next Percent certainly is the one that is still my favourite. But the Endorphin Pro 3, as you can see, worked very well for the sessions, and I think I'll be rotating them around when I do sessions. I think they're the two shoes at the moment that just stand out so much more than any other shoe in terms of going fast. It just seems to fit me. I must say the Endorphin Pro is a bit wide, and if you have a close-up of the shoe, I've really got the tongues touching, which is kind of a similar problem I have in a lot of shoes. But I think having done so, and I've actually got them now in a position where they kind of locked into place and it's okay. I mean, I think some YouTubers will think that's terrible. They need to go off and talk to the manufacturer about how they can make them better for them. But in fact, I've got very long, narrow feet. I'm quite lucky in a way that the likes of Saucony and Nike actually do my sizes in the first place, because the likes of ASICS never do, and Adidas have only started doing them just recently. So I hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe. Which shoe do you prefer at the moment? Is it one of those two, or do you have another favourite? So I look forward to seeing the next one then. Hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe and all that again, once again, and see you in the next one. Bye!